Hi guys, well welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a little video on the BSA Super Rocket. Now you'll remember, if you follow the channel, I recently painted the piled arms, and I was also looking to inspect the Dynamo grease around the Dynamo belt in the engine casing cover, and it got a lot of attention actually. I followed the instructions. I rang SRM before I did it, and I spoke to the guy on the phone who was selling the parts, and I said, do you need to grease it or anything? And he said, yeah. He said, how long have you been riding the bike now? And I said, it's about 2,000 miles worth. He said, well, if you're not running any grease, I'm surprised it's not snapped already. They were his words. And I read the fitting instructions, which say pack the cavity with grease. And I said to him, you know, when you say this, how much grease are we talking? And his exact words were, as much as you can get in. So you saw the video. It was very painful to actually do that, and yeah, I literally packed the cavity with as much grease, probably half a pint worth, and it just got so many comments on YouTube, and it's quite unusual. Thought I'd pause to give you a little shot there. Yeah, and I thought this something's not right. People are not happy with this, and commenting quite a lot. So I rang them back, and I said, look, you know, I make a bit of a YouTube video here and there, and people are saying that's not right. And he said, well, where did you put the grease? And I said, I put it all over the belt and in that cavity. And he said, oh no, you don't want to put it in there. And I said, your guy on the phone told me to pack it with grease, and your fitting instructions, which are downloadable on your website at the time, also say the same. And he said, right. He said, what's happened there? It was a previous standard of belt, and they've moved away from that, the new material. And he said, you should run that dry. And I said, like, you know, come on, give me a chance. You even sent the instructions with the new belt I bought, which say do the opposite. So he said, right, well, I'll educate the guy on the phone, but yeah, you shouldn't run any grease in there. So I said, well, seeing as though it's now full, is it going to cause any issues? And where can it go? Because it's not like a fan belt, it's a toothed belt, so it can't slip off. And he said, no, you probably want to take that out. And I'm like, seriously? So that's what I'm going to do today. It's just a bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest, because I've put loads in. It was spotless before, and I thought it felt strange because they built the bike and they fitted the Dynamo upgrade. So why did they not put the grease in themselves in the first place? So anyway, that's today's job. I need to thank one of the commenters as well. I forget your title, but I explained I've bought another timing house cover, because the casting on mine, the rifles, it kind of stops halfway up, or near the cross section at the top. And I've seen some that are much better casting finish. So I didn't end up painting mine to the extent I wanted to do. And he commented saying, you do know you've had a roller end conversion. I didn't read the comments before just making this, so I'll put it in the comments. But he said you've had a conversion done. And that's also what I rang SRM to double check about. So thank you very much, kind sir. If it wasn't for you commenting that, I would have just painted the new one and stuck that on, and potentially run out of oil in the engine somewhere, and cost myself about 5 grand's worth of damage based on SRM's costs. So really do appreciate that. So yeah, I'll show you. This is the casting, so that's how I'd left it. So it's not perfect, but it's okay. I will now I know I'm keeping this one, I'll now work a bit harder to finish that off. But yeah, you join me today cleaning this up and putting it back to exactly the same position that it was in before. A bit frustrating, to be honest. So I've just started undoing the bolts here, and I realised last time I had oil leaking out all over the floor. So I've just remembered and grabbed my drip tray, and I'll mark the long ones because there's different size screws. And I've also just tried to diagnose the leak. There's two bolts under the gearbox, so I am going to refresh the oil, because I did another video whereby I topped up the gearbox oil, and you could see it was like a creamy finish. So I think water's getting in there. I think it's condensation. So again, do appreciate the comments on the channel. One of you has suggested that I drill a little hole in this filler. So I didn't want to drill into that one, so I bought a spare. So I'm going to drill somewhere, a tiny little pinprick of a hole, just so maybe condensation can escape or something, and try and do it somewhere that it's not going to splash out oil, maybe at the top, but drilled upwards so it wet rainwater can't get in. It's a job for later this week. There are two bolts under the gearbox, as I've said. One of them is like a how do you describe it? It's like a smaller bolt that goes into like a hex, you know. My God, can't get my words out today. Anyway, I've tightened both of them up, and they just nipped a little bit. But I'm going to refresh the gearbox oil with the view that potentially there's some moisture in there and stuff now, and it won't be doing as good a job. And I've also been using a GL5 standard gearbox oil from Miller's Hypoid EP90. I've realised the Castrol is a GL4, and I think they say GL5 isn't for gearbox use. So clearly I've got a lot of spare time on my hands and I do some research. Don't always get it quite right. So anyway, I'll refresh the gearbox oil on another video if you want to stick around and follow the channel. But yeah, today we're just basically cleaning out the Dynamo, the engine cover, and I'm so frustrated because it was perfect before, and it's going to take me forever because it's just it's full, absolutely full. What he did say, he said there's like a cork washer. He said you do want to grease that, keep that lubricated, otherwise it might sort of perish a little bit. No chance of that happening, I don't think, at the moment with what I've done to this. So yeah, bear with me and we'll put back to how it was before I bloody started. What to do. Sharing this with yourselves though, so maybe someone can learn from it if nothing else. So anyway, I'll crack on. It's a lovely day actually. I could be out on a ride instead. And I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do this. I'm going to start with a rag, and the view is that I'll then maybe use a little toothbrush type thing with some degreaser. I don't know. And I think, from memory, I actually probably don't need to mark these. The 3 small ones go around here. I think everything else is long. I'll check. Hope there's no wind noise as well, by the way. I do have a new set of mics, but I've been a bit lazy today, not bothered wearing them. Okay, so what a job this is going to be. Oh shit. Maybe I'll use a screwdriver or something. To be fair, this is actually going a lot quicker than I thought it would. So to be honest, this is a lot less painful than I was expecting. It's actually come out pretty quickly there. Right, I'll give you a close-up in a second. So, little update for you, this is how we've gone on. So most of it's actually come out quite easily. What I'm going to do now is just spray some brake cleaner in there and just try and do what I can. I think this is the little cork washer that the gentleman on the phone was referring to, and yeah, I think actually it'll be a bit more simple than I was expecting this, he says. So just going to try and clean it all off basically. So a little progress update, getting there now, just need to get something small to get in here, but the worst of it's over, I think. So I think we're coming to the end of it now. Nearly done. I'm just cleaning the sort of teeth here, and it's getting there. It's getting there. So yeah, feeling a lot more happy than I did when I started, to be honest. I've got a bag full of greased up bloody tissue. So yeah, let me finish this, and I'm just going to grease up this seal again, this washer, as instructed, and then to be fair, that was a lot less of an issue than I was expecting, so happy about that at least.